Peace, love, and reparations. Please come in and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and please go to blackstartv.store and go cop your merch. What's going on, family? I hope y'all having a blessed day. Hope y'all feeling good. Man, unfortunately for the rolling 60 Crips, man, they got indicted on a RICO case. What's funny is, though, do you notice, family, that the Democrats, even the Republicans as well, that they never indict these white supremacist groups? You notice, like the Proud Boys and all these alt-right groups, they never get RICO charges. They never get RICO charges, and they be under the Democrats. And before I even get into this, because again, this is the topic, but really I want to get into defunding the police, right? And the reason that we need to defund them. One, because y'all only target us. And we're tired of that shit. You feel me? And again, I feel like this is done on purpose, where you target Black people for RICOs. That way you can get a bunch of us at the same time instead of, again, getting one person. And then when you're going after our gang members, this is like our military group for the streets, right? If somebody was to come into our neighborhoods and start, shooting us down or doing anything crazy, the gang members and the street people are the ones who will defend the community. Remember that. So I feel like this is a targeted effort to, knock our militant guys down and off and get them out the way. And the easiest way to do that is through a RICO, where charges can be so vague and you just have to had been on the phone with somebody as far as a conspiracy. Like it's so crazy how vague, their laws be. But watch this, family. I noticed that the Democrats, they love to push for prison reform and criminal justice reform, but how can you fund the police and be trying to get criminal justice reform at the same time? Now, I want to play this video real quick of Gavin Newsom, and he's talking to a white supremacist, suspected white supremacist, Charlie Kirk. And listen to what he says about defunding the police.
Riots that even made 2020 close.
Right.
But then it was the extension of all of the what we would call woke stuff.
Right. And defund police.
Yeah, I mean, Minneapolis literally had to hold a special vote saying, like, should we still have a police department?
Yeah, that was lunacy.
I mean, but Governor,
lunacy.
I don't want to.
By the way, you're talking to someone who's never supported the defund.
No, I'm not. I know, but
I was explicit.
But
also,
one second, you did support Prop 16 in 2020, which would have legalized racial prejudice, right? Prop 16 literally would, and it's got to go.
Family, this is a Democrat who's trying to justify that nobody, and again, they also talked about the little George Floyd thing. I should have clipped that part up too, but that was fair use as well. But yeah, they were talking about stuff from what happened when George Floyd and the riots, and Gavin Newsom was definitely on some white supremacist talking points with that. And that's why he's like, oh no, I wasn't talking about, nobody in my firm ever talked about defunding the police. You see? Because y'all love to fund the police because y'all know who the police target. Again, this is part of your anti-Black agenda, which is fund the police, because poverty breeds crime. So you should be funding the poverty reparations. instead of funding the police, who are the most oppressive group on the planet. But here's another clip of somebody else, and Democrats knowing that that this is what they
we are still carrying the weight.
Yeah.
And let's set aside the substance of police violence and abuse. I made my points very clearly on that. We are still carrying the weight of defund the police around.
Come on.
Now, by the way, almost no member of Congress said that.
It was a Republican talking point that you guys let them run with at you.
And so we're just the passive victims of that fact? Or can we stand up and say defunding the police is a bad idea that is opposed most intensely by African Americans? So
it's actually not a bad idea when you explain it to people as about reallocating resources. But my point being is, I do think that people on your wing of the party have hidden behind that rather than look at other issues that cost you seats, cost you votes. Like defund the police was not the reason you lost the election last year. No one was even running on it. Joe Biden increased funding to the police.
I was giving you an example. The ad that ran, the tagline of which was, "She is for they, them, and Donald Trump is for you."
Yes, Republicans are very proud of that ad.
Well, and you know, the research shows that it swung some people. And by the way, I'm not saying throw transgender Americans overboard. I'm just saying you can choose to focus on certain things and to not focus on other things. And we get that perpetually wrong in this party.
Yes, we are the ones who mainly push for defund the police because that's what needs to be done. See, the police get funded and they get all this military equipment, military weapons, all these electronic gadgets and gizmos. Meanwhile, you're targeting foundational Black Americans. White people are committing 67% of the crimes in the country. We're committing about 25 to 27% of the crimes, but we're 40% of the prison population. And that is because of policing and being targeted. The only way I can get into court is from being arrested by the police from the jump. You see? So the Democrats, they love to fund the police because they know funding the police oppresses Black people, again, which is part of their agenda, family. But we got to get away from this talking on the internet. Back to Big U and them. We got to get away from talking on the internet, man. This is crazy. And of course, there's a lot of speculation out there of him, putting a hit on Nipsey and everybody saying this is his karma. Hey, maybe. But I know that Adam 22 and Vlad TV brings people on there, specifically, well, both of them. But I'm going to talk about Adam 22 and him, how he puts all these gang members and gives them shows, right? For them to come out and talk about hood politics and all of that stuff, so they can then come down and run down and get indicted. Now, the crazy part about it is all these people were not all these people, but Big U, Loosh, what's his name, Loose Cannon, and Brick Baby definitely be on Adam 22. So for Brick Baby and Loose Cannon to just link up, be on Adam 22, and the next day the feds bum down on both of y'all, man, listen. See, what's happened is, like, we don't learn from what we see going on. Like, you cannot tell me that you can't see that Adam is being a culture vulture. Yo, if you can't see that, and you can't see how him and Vlad like literally just use Black people for content, and they don't care about any repercussions of what happens from them putting your content on their platform, it's crazy. It's crazy because I did a video on Adam 22 and what was his name? Whack 100, when Whack was, justifying Adam speaking on having sex with a 13-year-old. He didn't have sex with a 13-year-old, but he was like saying it as a grown-up. Like, oh, I would F a 13-year-old or F 15-year-old, something like to that extent. And I was just like, whoa. And Whack 100's like response to that was like, yeah, because he was arguing with Doggy Diamond. He said his response to that was like, well, in Massachusetts, the consenting age is like 15, 16 or something he said. I'm like, who cares? Nobody care about what no consenting age is. That's a kid. You feel me? And the simple fact that he got on there to justify that for him, y'all, man, listen, bro, you gotta watch out for these people, man. People that know so much information about other people are slime balls. When a person says that they probably know more about you than you know about them, and when people talk like that, yeah, I'm telling you, they're grimy. Because you got people out here that like to use information on people to put people in vulnerable positions. That's why it's funny, because I just hit my man up today, like, yo, tell your peoples don't talk about his situation online no more. Like, and that, because you're going to mess your play up. You feel me? Because a lot of us get online. Again, I'm guilty of it because I had to take down a couple videos that I did of my legal situation, right? So I'm not, knocking nobody, but I get it, bro. And you get caught up in, one, just wanting to talk about your situation because it's just on your mind and you feel like, you just want to speak on what you're going through. But yo, you get caught up in the views, people speaking on it, the comments, and it's like, yo, next thing you know, you're saying too much. You feel me? Because you can speak on a situation, but then once you start speaking on it too much, you're going to start saying too much. You're going to end up like this in a RICO. And it's crazy, man. So I say you got to keep them street politics, man. First of all, stay out the streets. I'm not the condoner of a person doing dirt, but also, listen, man, do what you do, man. Just, stay out the way. Because my thing is, the government is some of the most crookedest people on the planet. They make the rules just to break the rules and then try to smack you on your ass when you break the rule. So my thing is, if you're going to break the rules, just do it on the low. Yeah, I'm not no moral police. I'm not going to sit here and wag my finger at you because you're doing some dirt. Nope, that's not me. I don't encourage it, but I don't look down on it either. I don't judge you for whatever you doing as long as it ain't interrupting what I got going on. You feel me? But listen, man, these people do dirt every day and they get away with it. You know what I'm saying? They do dirt every single day and get away with it. That's why I say these police are running around doing RICOs. You feel me? Matter of fact, watch this. Look at LAPD. Let me show you this, family. LAPD officer, what the hell just happened? LAPD officer secretly recorded making racist comments and complaints alleged. So the LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department, is under scrutiny after a complaint was filed accusing officers of making racist and other derogatory comments about their colleagues. The alleged remarks secretly recorded, according to an explosive Los Angeles Times investigation report, an officer working for LAPD recruitment office recorded dozens of conversations for better part of the year. LA Times report details roughly 90 recordings of officers and supervisors purported voicing opening discrimination against potential recruits, colleagues based on race and orientation. Now watch this, family. And shout out to Professor Black Truth, because he gave a good take on this. Now, we know because the FBI said that there's white supremacist groups running rampant in the police departments. And I believe that they're running rampant in the FBI as well. But we, the people, should be the ones who hire these people. This is why you got discriminating practices and they're voicing open discrimination against potential recruits because these people have white supremacist groups already embedded in the police departments. And then they're saying, no, he don't have the right tattoos. He ain't giving up the right okay signal, which is a white supremacist hand gesture. You feel me? We, the people, need to be sitting out here making or hiring the police who we want to work in. you know, you already know my stance. My stance is we need reparations and we need our own police departments, our own tribal courts, own hospitals, everything. Well, let me read some more. In one conversation, a Latino LAPD officer, here goes your brown and black coalition, offered advice on how to fight African Americans. You hit black people in the liver. I heard they got weak livers. This is a Latino LAPD officer. And it says, according to the complaint filed on January 5th, LAPD officers, Professional Standards Bureau, and the Inspector General's office, the same officer allegedly described a Latino janitor to her colleagues as a wetback. So the complaint accuses LAPD Sergeant Denny Jong of leading a prejudicial banter. In one conversation with the subordinates about the Dodgers legend Fernando Velasquez, I don't even know how to pronounce that, who passed away in 2024, septic shock, allegedly said, I know why he died. He ate too much tacos. Oh, niggas as well. So, again, this is the LAPD. We know, and this is why we don't want to fund you. See, and you got the Democrats out here trying to fund these people because they know what the police departments are made up and what they're made up for. Again, this is why I don't knock none of these brothers. Listen, I don't condone it. You know, I wouldn't advocate anybody to join the gang, but listen, man, I get it, man. I get it. I'm not wagging my finger at nobody. Listen, they ain't doing nothing that the government ain't doing. As a matter of fact, the government is doing way more than what these people are doing. So you can look down at them and be like, oh, look at these niggas. Look at these niggas. But you got people like this. But you got people just like this white cracker right here, who worse than all them black people you just seen on that page. Yes, sir. The one with the badge. Yeah, he worse than all of them. He worse than Big U, all of them. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Yep. So that's what it is, family. Listen, man, stay out the streets. You know what I mean? Get your bread. Do what you got to do. Fight for these reparations, man. Peace, love, and reparations. We up out of here, family. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you didn't hit the like button yet. And also go to blackstartv.store. That's blackstartv.store and copy your merch. We up out of here, family.
It's not a nicety. It's not something nice to have for black folk. It is now an absolute necessity. If you do not get reparations soon, black folk, as I told you before, are through. Reparation is not a nicety, it's a necessity. What are the conditions? What are the conditions that precipitated black folk getting into this dilemma? And what black labor, white wealth did, it tracked 800 years of history in very systematic terms to show you every strategy, every technique, every law, every public custom, and every public policy that was used to enslave black folk around the world and to maldistribute almost 100% of all this nation's wealth, power, resource, privileges, businesses, and controls of all levels of government into the hands of the dominant white society. And what slavery and Jim Crow segregation did with black folk, it intentionally maldistributed all the resources away from black folk and created a real-life monopoly game. Black folk in America are playing in a real-life monopoly game that you're totally ill-prepared to play in.